Hey, what's going on? It's me, John D. Valero, and here it goes. We are live. It is Wednesday, December 18th, 10 p.m. A lot going on, players. A lot going on. No doubt about it. We have breaking news on some stuff. I'm going to have to split this up a little bit into different sections, if you will, because I'm doing a couple different things real quick. I've got a new camera, new lens, really exciting. So we're trying some different stuff out here. And I can say just straight off the jump here, love the camera, love the lens. I can see now this is full automatic settings here. I can see that it's better than my previous camera was, but it still has that, in my opinion, has that Sony sort of look to it. But it definitely is improved. But this is just absolutely straight automatic. So we're seeing the AI do its thing. I like it. I think it's a nice improvement, but I will go in there and try to adjust some things for the program auto and try to do that. But you can see I've got the lens set at about 50 millimeters right there. I think it's pretty nice. And I like it. I think it's really very realistic. So I'm definitely giving this high marks, and I'm very excited about where I can go with this. And I think from a brightness perspective of this lens that I'm using, I think it's fine. It's a 2.8 zoom. I think it's totally fine. And you can see there where the colors got a little bit better. So again, really happy with the Sony a7 IV, happy with the Tamron lens. I know we're going to iterate and do more with it. So I'm very happy with that. Now I'll go to the rest of the video later offline. This is live right now, and we'll talk about that. I'll wrap up, give my comments and all that. But let's get to the breaking news. So a little clean break right here. And we're going to get to the breaking news. We're going to discuss it because there's a lot to discuss. And I'm going to try to think about how I'm going to really maneuver through this, because this is, some significant breaking news on this. So very happy with the new camera, very happy with the new lens. 1080p 60 is what we're rocking on this right now. So that's pretty cool. So, okay, let's get to the news. There is new news, and we'll go picture in picture here in a second. They apparently have found a suspect in what happened at Brown University, Ivy League. And apparently they're no longer with us. We're going to go to Fox News has coverage on this right now. Let's look at this. This is breaking right here. Brown University suspect found. I'm going to edit some stuff here, obviously. You can see that right there. Now, very interesting. I was seeing, excuse me. There we go. I was seeing a lot online. Mind you, I was seeing a lot online, on X in particular, speculation, right? Is it like what we saw in Australia and Bondi Beach? And some of these are, again, I don't know them well, but they're sort of, people I respect and people that I speak to on X. And listen, I'll refer to Sean Hannity, which in this case I think is very much right, and it goes back to the Richard Jewell, case with the Atlanta situation on the Olympics, and really even before that. I mean, this is always you got to slow down. I don't know anything about this dude, but I know how maybe some folks there was speculation that maybe it was like, and it's like you got to slow down, because a lot of times in these things we don't know. You don't know until you know. Okay. And, you had a situation out there with, the tragedy with Charlie, and you had some dude raising his hand, and you had some other stuff happening in L. And okay, well, no, it's not this person. Maybe it's this person. So you have to let these things settle first. And I just think that, and we're all armchair quarterbacks, but there's a lot of armchair quarterbacks out there. And listen, not to bring this whole thing up, but I do think that it is good to ask questions. I think it's always good to ask questions, but I think that you also have to, you have to keep, both feet, if not at least one players on the ground. Okay. And just wait, just take a minute, take a beat and see what's going on. Now, I don't know anything. I mean, I'm like, oh, just do a show, talking about the camera and so that, whatever. And it's like, oh, wow, there's a lot of stuff here. It will be interesting to sort of try this versus my Cine lens and just see what the difference is on that and everything like that. I need to tune some different things there. So Yeah, I mean, this is really crazy, right? And I don't know like what the deal is. They have this the information here. I'm sure we're going to find some different stuff. Uh, find some stuff out. Now, let me go here and let's kind of go to X and see what people are saying. And I don't know, let's see. We're gonna see this result, and I'll say this ahead. All my disclaimers apply. Not casting aspersions, not alleging any facts. This is for a news and entertainment value. It's a live show. If I make a mistake, I do apologize. And yeah, so we're gonna see what happens here. Now, Megan, this is a whole different thing. I don't even know if I'm even gonna deal with this tonight. Megyn Kelly. There's a lot of stuff going on there. Steve Hinton, I mean, that'd be great if you could win, brother. I hope so, but I don't know. I mean, California is pretty blue state. We'll see what happens there. So it's a lot happening to Elon Musk. Elon Musk is the richest person in the world. I mean, he's like, what is he, over 600 billion now? Something insane. So he's doing that. There's more stuff going on there, but there was a lot of discussion. There's a lot of Bill Ackman. Happy Hanukkah, everybody. Absolutely. So that's great. There was a lot of Byron Donalds. Byron Donalds is rolling in Florida players. He's rolling in Florida players. I mean, that is probably, I would be surprised if that's not your next governor there. Byron Donalds. He's fantastic. Mark Andreessen. So and there was a 102. I'd love to be alive in 102. So, I mean, there's a lot of discussion before. There was some different stuff, and now we're not seeing it as much. So, in any event, I think that then so people are talking here about online sleuths and all this type of stuff. And again, I don't want to get in the middle of all this, but you're seeing some discussion there. And again, I'm not trying to call anybody out or anything like that. But you don't know until you know, players. I'm not on the ground. I'm not, burning up the gumshoe and tracking down leads and facts. And if that's what listen, if you can do it from wherever you're at, if you got sources, that's great, and a lot of people are sources saying it's really just, you just read another article that we all read or someone read. So, I don't know. I just think that, you got to be a little bit careful on this. I'm not saying you can't have discussions. And listen, I will say this, a lot of people are very, very concerned right now. There's a lot of concerning things going on in the world. There's no doubt about that. Okay. So we go to Fox News headlines here and we see this, and here we go. Evil unveiled. Live updates. Wow. Okay. So this dude went to school with the MIT dude. Wow. So what's happening, dude? What's happening? Now we do see, I think we've seen some of this before. Again, I don't know anything, and this is not even pure speculation. I don't even want to know. I don't know. I don't even know how to characterize it. But I will say this: sometimes there's a bigger thing, and sometimes it is what it is. Sometimes in these high-level Ivy Leagues, top, MIT, Berkeley, Stanford, Caltech, Harvard, whatever. I'm not naming any specific. I'm saying, let me rephrase that. Super elite institutions, you got high pressure situations. You don't know, is there rivalries? Who likes who? Is there personal stuff involved? Who knows? Right? Who knows? And I don't know. I haven't followed this. Okay. Other than just very cursorily at a distance. I've been busy and stuff like that. And so I think, and then we have more news here. Mandami, what's going on? Okay, appointment, director resigns. What's the remark? I don't know. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Okay, there's a lot of stuff going on here. So we're talking, Trump stuff here. It's a lot of news. Okay, so we have to figure out what's happening on this. Okay, no confidence vote or Brown. Wow. I don't know. It's a lot of stuff happening. Now, the economy is also a big story. And a lot of people are talking about that. So suffice it to say that, look, you have to slow down and you got to figure this out. We really need to come together right now, players. I really believe that. We need to come together And I will say, I do like that. This camera does seem to, it does seem to, the autofocus seems to be more there. And I do like that it is adjusting. It's not where I want it to be, but it's a lot more, it's a lot better than the old ones. We'll talk about that and everything. But look, here's my concern. There's a lot of people stoking up the conspiracy stuff. And as JD Vance said, I love it. I only believe in conspiracies that are true, that's hilarious. I love that line. But I think that if you look at Ukraine, if you look at the Middle East, if you look at what happened, obviously in Australia, if you look at China, if you look at Venezuela, if you look at a lot of places, there's things happening in the world, players. Syria, there's things happening in the world. We also have issues with affordability. We have issues with the economy. People are very concerned about that, and a check for the veterans, stuff like that. I mean, listen, we support the veterans, of course, but is that going to solve the housing problem? And Michael Boldenaro was talking about that, and I've been saying this. It's an affordability issue, bro. I mean, rates can go up, down, stat, whatever. If let's just hypothetically, this is not the case. If the average house is $1 million, the average person can't afford that. You could have a negative 1% rate. It's not, but you know what I'm saying? Like, obviously that's fictitious. That's not real, in my opinion. And again, not giving anyone advice, financial or any kind of otherwise. Everything you do is at your own risk. Well, what I'm saying is you have to give credit where credit's due. Prices are down. A lot of this was supply side inflation, in my opinion. Trump has made some moves, is doing some things, but there's a long way to go, players. And let's say the inflation rate goes down to 1%. It's still 1% more than it was last year, which is still way up from where it was 3, 4, 5 years ago. And wages haven't kept up. So we give it TikTok over here. Carlo, the numbers are on Trump's side. And I think so. And that's really we're at this inflection point. And I don't want to be too dramatic about it, but I think we're at a point now where are things going to get better or are things going to get worse? Are we going to at a point with musical chairs where the music's going to stop? And you're going to feel the pain in the housing market. If the housing market in some areas has run up, 50%, 100%, 200% in half a decade or less. At what point does that have to correct? At what point are people like, does that have to adjust? And then how do people feel about that? Boldenaro was talking about like, hey, people don't want to cut the price of their house. That's not going to happen. But it happens when it has to happen. Home builders can't move houses, and people can't get approved if someone has to sell a house. There's different reasons why you might have to sell a house. The major life events, right? Getting married, inheritance, whatever, different things happen. Then, you have to, eventually the market's going to find a place where things can transact, in my opinion. Now, on the other hand, oil's flowing again. The supply side issues are being addressed. The immigration thing is being addressed. Some people say it's not enough. Some people say it's too much. And this is the thing, right? And that goes back to some of the other stuff. And this is probably a much longer conversation. I don't think I'm going to get into it here and now, but we'll paint the broad brushes, if you will, outline. There's issues in the MAGA coalition right now. Whether you're talking about Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Megyn Kelly, PBD, kind of in the middle, sort of, Piers Morgan, kind of, sort of. I mean, if some people that are maybe a bit more, how do I say this? a little more in. I'll be as generous as I can, in tune with what the popular sentiment might be at that moment. And again, I'm not in anyone's head. I'm not alleging anything. I have no idea. I'm just observing in my personal opinion, hypothetically. And then you have people on the other side, maybe, yeah, I can name a lot of names, right? That are a little bit more, Senator Graham. I mean, there's a lot of, Senator Cruz, there's a lot of different names over there. And everyone in between, right? And so I think that people forget, they get complacent. I took a minute there. I'm trying to be precise on how I want to say this. Yes, we have all branches of government right now, sort of. I mean, yeah, Senate, House, presidency, 5, 6, justices on the Supreme Court that you would consider maybe more conservative or at least moderate or something like that, in my opinion, potentially. But don't be fooled. Don't let you slip into some kind of complacency or think that, like, hey, whatever Trump wants, and we're gonna, just, if we can convince Trump, then we get our way and we'll do whatever, and we're in charge and everything like that. Anybody. It could be anybody on any issue. There's no one specifically I'm talking about, or no issue or anything I'm referencing right now. Now, why is that important? We only have the House by this much, players, and some of these special elections have been a very much of a wake-up call. Look at the Miami mayoral. Look at some of this congressional stuff. It hasn't been going the Republicans' way. Some have, okay, so, but there's a lot of concern out there. Poll ratings are down and stuff like that. What I'm getting at is the idea that somehow there can be this MAGA civil war and it's all good. I don't believe that in any way, shape, or form. Right? I mean, the midterms are coming up. It could be a blowout. I mean, and again, look at Mandami. Look at the energy. Look at AOC. Look at what she's saying. Look at what's happened out there, and look at the economy here. I mean, Dow's down. Nasdaq down. It goes up and down. I understand that. Elon Musk, super bunny here, but I think that you're having a lot of people that can't afford a house and freaking out. So you're really having this wealth gap, which I think is going to be enhanced and accelerated by AI and stuff like that. Rick Ryder says we have a labor problem. Okay. And so, people on off the sidelines. Look, that's up. That's going. Artificial intelligence, increased competition from agents, what to expect. Here we go in 2026. Things are changing. Now, Musk is saying that AI will bring universal high income. We'll find out, but inflation was less than expected, but still above the Fed target. So I think it's a mixed bag. And I think it's again, a place where things could go different ways. Things could absolutely go different ways. And we don't know where it's going to go. I do think that there's a correction. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a correction. I'm not predicting anything. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a correction just based upon the numbers. If that happens, then what? How much savings do people have right now? How much credit is being leveraged? How many people can't afford a home? What is happening with the job market out there? I've seen different reports of, a significant percentage of Harvard MBAs can't get jobs or whatever at the 3-month mark, whenever they take the study. That's a huge deal, players. That's a huge deal. Okay. And it's not just Harvard. I mean, insert, whatever, other people said, hey, yeah, my, kids and their friends, they're, a lot of them don't have jobs. I'm seeing other reports where it's like, hey, well, forget about the junior lawyers or junior associates in different fields or entry level, and we can use AI for this, or we'll figure out how to use AI for this. So I'm not a gloom and doom person, but I do say that I'm a natural born optimist. But I will say that, like, look, if people are unhappy, and there's a lot of people saying here, enough of this. We need Trump to keep the promise that America first and all that stuff. range of issues. And if they don't turn out to vote, if they don't turn out to vote in the midterms, then what? Then you get a Democratic House. What do you think they're going to do? If remember, it wasn't that long ago that Trump was in court a lot, got impeached, and all that type of stuff. Do we want to go down that road again? Whose agenda on anyone on the MAGA, Maha side, all that type of stuff? How do you think? What's that going to do to the agenda that you want? So I think we're in a spot here where there is a coalition, and that coalition has to be dealt with. I think there's also an issue where like, yeah, okay, people, they can't afford checks to everyone, and I'm not saying they should or shouldn't do anything. I'm just pointing something out, but no problem bailing out Silicon Valley Bank that had tons of very wealthy individuals and venture-backed companies. I mean, Silicon Valley Bank was legendary. Who talks about that now? Oh, we need to save it. This is an institution. Who's talking about that now? I don't know. Maybe they are. I haven't seen it. How many times has Wall Street been bailed out? How many times have big banks, have big automotive companies, different? How many times have they been bailed out? The PPP loan. How much money was lost on that? Isn't that part of this discussion with what's happened in Minnesota? And yet you even mention student loans. Oh, those deadbeats. Listen, now, full disclosure, my family's got a lot of student loans. I got student loans, and that, whatever. I mean, I've been paying down, whatever. I don't want to get into specifics. I'd rather extend that. I mean, we have student loans, okay? Now, and that's fine. But there's a lot of these kids that are just kids. They don't know what they're doing. They were told, hey, go to college. They're 17, 18, whatever years old. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to take. They're trying to live their life too. They're trying to, the parents, oh yeah, this is the best time of your life. You can enjoy things, whatever like that. Pretty soon, snap of a finger, they're 100, 50 grand, 100 grand, 200 grand or more in debt. And it's wild because, there's no issues with signing up a young kid for that. But see if that young kid can go buy a $200,000 house. Good luck with that. And then they see the rich people getting bailed out, and they can't get a job. And again, I'm not advocating for everyone needs to have personal responsibility. I'm a capitalist, everything like that. But then don't be surprised when these people vote for Mandami. Or the lady, in Seattle, or maybe it's Gavin Newsom, or maybe it's AOC, or whatever. And what I'm saying is there's so much focus on, the foreign policy stuff and who's MAGA and who's in and who's out, and oh, don't platform this person, or I'm not going on your show because you had to, whatever, all this. Do you realize? I had a discussion. I don't get too into it. I had a discussion with my wife. Like, I didn't vote for Trump. I'm like, are you insane? I love my wife. I'm never watch out. I'm like, great. You have your reasons. Is any president perfect? No president is perfect. No person is perfect. The only one was perfect. Again, not to get religious, but I mean, it's that time of the year, whatever. Walked on water a long time ago, and it wasn't me. Okay. Now, I said, do you forget the alternative? Oh, they're all the same. Are you insane? I mean, how much longer? It wasn't that long ago people had masks on and stuff like that. We were told to never take, ivermectin or whatever. I don't want to get into all that type of stuff, but I'm not giving anyone any medical advice, health advice, any kind of advice. I'm not a medical professional whatsoever, etc. Everything you do is at your own risk. What I'm saying, and they've had all these lists. I'm not the first one to come up with this, nor am I going to try to revitalize everything here. But look at all of the either misstatements, corrections, and or outright lies in the media. It wasn't that long ago they were trying to push the green energy thing, and we had inflation going up. We had people locked down, and you couldn't even see your grandma's not whatever if you were in certain states. I mean, it was a bad situation. There's people that lost their businesses, they lost all kinds of stuff. That was not long ago, players. So let's say that, okay, the Trump presidency, Trump 2.0 is a failure. Republicans lose the midterms. Democrats win in 2028. What do you think is going to happen? Look at what's happening around the globe in different parts. But then in Latin America, you're seeing Latin America go more conservative. And it's not just a left-right thing. What it is I've said this a long time, the government has to represent the people. I keep harping on this. This is what it is. And people want to just want a fair shake. Not everyone wants to have a yacht or a PJ or have $1 billion or be Elon Musk, but they might want to get married, have some kids, get a house, have a decent job that a robot doesn't fire them for, or something like that. Have an interview where they actually have a legit shot, whatever. I'm not saying that they don't, but I mean, these are the basic core issues. So, and again, I don't want to get too into this, but I'm a commercial drone pilot and stuff like that. They have this DJI thing coming up, and iPhondo did a credit to him, and I may link it or something like that. And I posted that on X. Some of the power players say, "Hey, what about this?" Crickets, let me see. Where's my crickets here? Hold on, here we go. That's what we heard. But here's the thing, players. I mean, they have like 70+% of the market. Oh, national security. They were supposed to do some audit and stuff like that, and they've asked for an audit. No one's audited them. Is it an issue or is it not an issue? It's the same thing with TikTok. I mean, let's go back to that, like this TikTok thing. And again, I don't know. I mean, I've not been on TikTok because I was worried about the stuff like that. But then this TikTok thing, like, okay, we got this thing here, and with the TikTok, and it's national security, it's China, it's all this type of stuff, and then we have, I guess. One of the Ellisons bought, and there's a group that bought TikTok, and then you have Netanyahu talking about, TikTok's the number one thing, and then next, whoa, wait, what is this about? Is this about China? I have no idea because I don't know on TikTok, and I'm not a big TikTok fan, but I'm not against it. It's just what, I was doing other stuff, but I mean, in other words, and I don't know, I'm not saying anything about anything. All I'm saying is we need to focus on what's really going on here. And we do not have time to be doing this, on the conservative Republican side. People want solutions. People are going to, here's what I'm saying. People don't care. At the end of the day, things might get, this is where people get a little bit confused, I think. I'm a political expert, media expert, things like that. Okay. People may watch, not me. It's like people will, I've said this before, people will stare at an accident on the side of the road. They'll stop, they'll stare at it. They might read something. Oh, the headline, so-and-so celebrity threw food at the other celebrity. And okay, you'll get people's attention. So people get confused when something gets clicks, whether it's the conspiracy stuff or whatever, something gets clicks, something gets views. That must be the most important thing. But what do people vote on? They vote on kitchen table issues. Do I have a job? Do I have savings? Are my kids safe? Can they get a house? Are they getting married? Basic issues. If Bill Clinton, it's the economy, stupid. If the economy is failing, if things are not happening, good luck. Good luck, because that's what people really care about. And now, again, of course, freedom, different things like that, free speech, those are also really big issues too. And to think that's what it is, it's like people don't care about all this other stuff. I mean, they care, but it's like, again, people decry populism, stuff like that. But I mean, what is popular? If you're a small group, whatever it is, for whatever issue you're talking about, if your issue is very narrowly, if it, defined and has narrow support, by definition, it may not be a popular position. I'm sort of saying two different things at once, and I don't want to get too caught up in this, and I'm going to wind this down actually here pretty soon. This is more of a test than anything, but I wanted to also do a show too, and we had breaking news, and so and Trump had the address last night, and this has sort of been on my mind as well, which is to say, look, dudes, people, everybody. That's a generic dudes, if you will. I spent a long time in California, as you could tell. Bottom line is Republicans have to deliver. And people are not going to care, not going to vote on the foreign policy issues. That may play with lobbyists, that may play with some voters, that may play with you know, whatever, you know, the NGOs, defense industry, whatever like that in DC, all that type of stuff. That is not writ large going to play with the electorate. It's just not. It's just not. Look at the polls. It's just not. And look at their election results. You know what I mean? Again, New York City, Mondami laughed at all that stuff. I'm not, you know, oh, where are you going to go? I'm not going there. This is what my issue is. He's coming out with videos. He's doing things. People call it, oh, you know, the world's going to end if he gets elected. Well, guess what? The dude got elected. The world didn't end. And I am not a fan or making any excuses for him. It's a warning, players, which is to say that, like, if the Republicans can't deliver and the conservatives and the Trump administration 47 can't deliver, Republicans in Congress too, and the Senate, and don't address the needs of the American people, which are what? Government that works, affordability, kitchen table issues, and representation of what they actually want, not what you tell them they want, or, oh, you're a bad person because you don't want what we want, or whatever it is. That's not going to work. Particularly when people feel like they don't have a shot, they can't win, they can't get a job, and stuff like that. And then what happens? Boom, they want to vote for the Democrat socialists or whatever. We've seen this play out again and again over time throughout history. That's just my little 2 cents on it. You know, so don't be complacent. And, you know, it's the same thing like with the H-1B visa issue and stuff like that. Like, nothing against anybody. Like, I love everybody. And I want the top talent and everything like that. But I mean, on the one hand, you're saying like, America's the best, we're the best in the world. And then you know, on the other hand, some people are saying, oh, America doesn't have enough talent. Oh, the kids aren't good enough, or they can't do this coding, or whatever that it is. And I think it's probably something in between. I'm no expert on it or anything like that, but I mean, I've been in Silicon Valley. I've seen incredibly talented people from all over the globe. Of course. And that's fabulous. That's fantastic. On the other hand, you know, there are people who are saying, hey, you know, I couldn't get a job, or I got displaced, or I had to trade my replacements, or, you know, all kinds of different things, you know, out there happening. And also, like, capitalism, this is no conspiracy. It's just, it is what it is. What, you know what I mean? Like, if you owned a company, like I said this to someone else the other day, if you owned a company and someone came to you and said, hey, I can cut $5 million off your payroll and double your production in 9 weeks using AI and robotics. Are you in? You just have to, you know, it's just going to cost you, you know, $100,000 up front, and you had, you know, 20 million in the bank. Who wouldn't do that? So companies are going to want to be more efficient. They're going to want to do more with less. That's the name of the game. So there's no surprise. Who's surprised? Can't be surprised about that. But you need to be prepared for that. And if you bring in people over the border or H-1B, I mean, you know, more people. I think there was some study out of one of the Ivies or something like that, or I can't remember where it was. I don't know. It was a college up north. Can't remember exactly where. I have an idea, but I don't want to be wrong about it. And it was something like, for every percentage increase in immigration, I think it's 0.1% or 1%. It's 1 to 1. I think it's pretty close ratio of rents going up. So, you know, 10% more people coming over the border, 10% increase in rent. It's just supply and demand. This is just simple math, players. It's not hard. Similarly, if you bring in a bunch of H-1B visas, you know, holders that are going to, whether it's tech jobs or although some of these things, apparently there was like some 7-Eleven jobs and there's different, I don't know, different jobs. I'm not sure. Allegedly, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm misremembering that. But have we really done a good audit on that? Whatever happened to Doge? That was there for a minute, and then trying to cut expenses, and Washington freaked out, bro. Now some things were done with the USAID and stuff like that, and there's some great. There's been, listen, this is with the haters too. There's been some great successes of the Trump administration, some great successes, and I think that rather than having this MAGA civil, this is all I'm trying to say. We've done a lot. There's been a lot of improvements. There really has. And thank you. Oh, well, wrong here. Hold on. Wrong one. Buttons were a little bit off there, or I misremembered where they were. It's been some great successes, but let's not get complacent. And there's some real dangers around the bit, and things can get, all the people like, oh, they're just trying to, tie Trump up and run up the clock. And I'm sure there's some of that too. I'm sure there's all kinds of different. I'm sure there's all kinds of different things going on, players. But, there's things happening right here in Providence, Rhode Island, and New York City, in different places where we need our attention on this stuff here. And that's what people are going to. Can I be on the subway or the bus or the train or whatever in North Carolina, in New York City, Providence, Rhode Island, or whatever like that, and feel safe and stuff like that? Can I get a job? If I go to college and spend $50,000 on my education, am I going to get a $100,000 job, or am I going to be living at home with mom and dad and not be able to find a job? And now I've got debt payments, stuff like that. So this is basic things. Where's inflation going? Can I buy a house? Can I retire? Or am I going to have to work till I'm dead? So this is what these are the things that people care about. And if I say, hey, we want X, or we vote for Y, are my constituents, are my representatives responsive to that? So what do you think about that? Give me some comments below. Let me know where you're at, what you're thinking about. I didn't want to go too long here and have a polemic, but I really think that I need to address this to some degree, because I think people are tripping in that we don't have this huge majority. We don't have a guaranteed win in 2026 or 2028. I mean, it's just not happening, dude. And I think that we have to be careful on how we talk about different things. And we have to come together. I mean, it's like, dance with who you brought kind of deal, right? So it's a coalition. It took a coalition, and that's what it is. There is no surprises here, players. It took a coalition to win. I mean, 3 years ago, where was Kennedy and Nicole Shanahan versus Trump and Rick Scott and some different people like that? I mean, it took a diverse coalition to win. And thank goodness we won. Things are improving, but we have to stay on point and focus and work on the things that bring us together and stuff like that. On the economy, I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic. I think there's a lot of things that are getting better, but I think there could be some pain coming. And at some point the bill comes due, and we'll see. I think that there's still a significant amount of correction that needs to go on there. I mean, you really have the haves and the have-nots now. If you have assets and or you have wealth, you may be doing great. And if you don't, then you have a lot of debt, then maybe you're having, things could be a lot harder potentially. And then it's hard to move up into that middle class of at least having your own home and having some retirement, just have something. And if people are having a harder time, doing that, and I don't want to be cliche about it, but I think there's issues there. So, now time moves forward, it doesn't move back, but people just want people can deal with things are changing. I think people have a hard time where it's like, hey, I feel like my representatives are working against me. and getting themselves rich and the insider stock stuff and whatever that's going on like that. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not alleging any of that. I'm saying if there's a perception of that, or you said you were going to do X and you didn't, or they're all the same, or why are we focusing, half the world over here instead of what happened in Providence, Rhode Island, or what happened in New York, or what happened in North Carolina, or what happened in San Francisco, or whatever. So that's what I think. I think that I'm cautiously optimistic, but I see a lot of things that we need to work on, and I think that we need to understand that things can change fast, for better or worse. So let's try to focus on the better. So anyway, that's what I got to say tonight. Thanks so much for watching. My name is John D. Villarreal. I like the new camera. I like the new lens. We're going to tune it up. We're not there yet. It's a work in progress. But I wanted to sort of see the capabilities, see what happens here, and we'll check it out. So I might try the other lens and see if that's better. I'm trying to figure out if I need like another lens or a third lens, or I'm trying to figure out where I want to be on it. But anyway, any comment you have on that in terms of looks and how the video looks, and this is just straight out of the box, full auto. So there we go. All right. Thanks so much to everybody. Have a great night. If I don't speak to you before, happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, happy holidays in general. Best to you and your family and everything like that. I'll probably be doing some stuff. I want to do a lot more content, but you never know. And we have some different plans and some things that we're going to be trying to do. So everyone have fun. Best to you and the family and all that. So take care. My name is John D. Villarreal, and I will see you next time.